Talkback off.
Hello everyone on YouTube and welcome to another video. What happens when you only have access to a Linux computer, a Mac or a Chromebook and you really need to reinstall Windows because maybe Linux isn't right for you, or there are pieces of software that you need that only work properly on Windows with the accessibility support that Windows provides. In this video today, I'm going to show you how you can create a Windows 10 installation USB from Linux. Now here are the things you're going to need. You're going to need an older version of Windows 10. A Windows 10 release before the 1809 release of Windows 10. Now they are really hard to get hold of. So if you can, try and find one of those old versions of Windows 10 somewhere. Or if you've been keeping hold of your old installation images, for backup, you can use one of those. So how does this work then? Well, you're going to need a USB stick and you're going to need to manually format that USB stick. It has to be 8 gigabytes or more. The USB stick needs to be formatted as FAT32 and the boot scheme needs to be MBR. I've already done this on the Mac, so what I'm going to do is eject the USB. And
close. I may be too late.
Let me get out of Chrome.
Finder.
I want to eject my USB here.
Computer. Untitled 2. Volume. In Untitled menu. Open and get in. Renet map. Quick look. Device update. Closing menu. Untitled. Volume. Eject Thunderbird. Press eject Thunderbird. Bolino Edge 5 Network. Untitled. Volume. Interact. Eject Untitled. Press eject Untitled. Untitled. Volume. You are currently in an image.
Okay, our USB stick is now ready. So we're going to eject it from the Mac and put it into the machine running Linux. In this case, I'm running Ubuntu, but this will work regardless of which distribution you are running. We're also going to install Windows 10 from that USB and set it up too. So I've just put my USB stick into the computer and I want to now make the USB bootable. So how do I do that? There aren't any tools in Linux that do that, so you're going to have to manually do this using the file manager. And this is where this older version of Windows 10 comes in handy. I should think about making this part of my Windows tips and tricks from Jordan series, because I haven't updated that series in a while. So yeah, consider this this a new episode of the Windows tips and tricks. Even though we're actually working in a different operating system, we're actually installing Windows back onto a computer that came with Windows, if you know what I mean. That sort of thing. So, assuming we've got everything right, what we're going to need to do is go to where we've saved our Windows 10 installation image.
Desktop.
So I'm going to go ahead to my downloads folder.
Untitled Jordan desktop downloads.
And I'm going to do another video on how to install Debian as well, which is coming up. So stay tuned for that. I've got a lot to cover today. So let's go into our downloads folder.
Download Win 100. Open in new tab. Downloads 3. Jordan. Download Win 101,709 English x64 folder.
It's in this folder here.
Win 10 1709 English x64.iso raw CD image.
Okay, so this is really important. I'm on the Mate desktop. So here's what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to mount it. So what we're going to do is right click it.
Open with Example Archive Manager. Open with menu.
Open with.
Archive disk image writer.
We're going to go to Disk Image Mounter.
Disk image mounter.
And this will mount our Windows 10 image.
Win 101,709 English x64 frame. Icon view. Win 10 1709 English x64.iso raw CD image. Icon view.
Okay, so now
Test. Untitled test ISO icon.
here we are in our installation media. Yeah, so in recent versions of Windows 10, Microsoft have changed the file size of install.wim from so that means if you try and copy a newer version of Windows 10 or even Windows 11 to a USB using this process, it's going to fail because you're going over the 4 GB limit. So we've made sure this isn't happening with this version of Windows 10. In this case, I'm installing the November 2017 update. But once we've installed that version of Windows 10, we can update it to the latest version of Windows 10 pretty easily. And if your PC supports it, we can even install Windows 11 as well. Okay, so let's get into business. So now our ISO is mounted, we're going to want to click on it.
ISO frame. Icon view.
And now what you're going to want to do, this is pretty simple, is select all the files on the mounted partition.
All items selected.
And copy them. Now unfortunately Orca doesn't say that they've been copied, but they have been copied because Control and C always works. So, or if you're on a Mac, it's Command and C. This will also apply to the Mac as well. So you're not just using Linux. May also work on Chrome OS as well if you think about it. Right, so now that we've done that, we're going to want to go into our desktop.
Icon test. Untitled icon.
To the USB, which is aptly named Untitled because I formatted it using the Mac earlier.
Untitled frame.
And what we're going to want to do is copy the installation files. And here is where the magic happens. Control and V.
File operations frame. Pasted contents from clipboard. Cancel push button. File operations. Cancel push button. 0%.
And we watch the magic happen. Now this does take a while. This computer's got a pretty fast CPU. So it shouldn't take too long, but I digress. Things do happen. So we just gotta wait.
Cancel for copying 751 files to Untitled. Cancel progress bar 1%. Pause queue.
Okay, that's gone. That progress bar has gone up to 1%, so it's looking great. So if you want to keep track of your progress, if you're using Orca, just double tap the numpad plus key. And our main objective, after all, is to install Windows 10 onto this onto this computer, while also getting rid of Ubuntu at the same time, because we don't want Ubuntu on the USB stick. Now, if your PC refuses to boot into Windows, then follow the steps. If you've got Linux on that PC, we're going to want to make the Linux partition unbootable, and I'll show you how to do that if we need to. But hopefully we'll be able to boot into Windows without any trouble. But if we can't boot into Windows, then I'm going to show you how you can make the Linux installation non-bootable, so that the computer will be forced
3%.
to boot into the Windows installation media. So here we go. Work is being done now. It's making progress. Like I said, this can take a few minutes, because we are copying a 4 GB file after all.
12%.
Except we're not going under the 4 GB limit.
46%.
Look how quick that went. Now that's because it was copying a few smaller files that are in subfolders. It's your larger files.
50%.
It's your larger files that take a while. So once everything's copied, our USB can be booted into, and we can
53%.
and we can install Windows 10.
%58. 63%. 69%. 75%.
The initial Windows installation though doesn't take too long either.
80%. 86%. 92%.
'We're nearly done. This is taking its time. Let's check how many files it's copying across right now.
Copying 144 files to Untitled. Cancel progress bar 97%. Pause queue. 3.7 GB of 3.8 GB. 7 seconds left. 15.2 MB/sec.
So the entire amount of data we've just tried to copy is 3 gig, which is actually pretty cool. But don't forget, since we're copying large file sizes, it does take a while. Here we go. Here we go. That progress bar is moving again. This is why I always suggest whenever you
99%. Untitled frame. Icon view. Boot folder. Icon view.
Our USB drive is now ready. Now I'm going to take a break for a little bit, but thanks to the power of pausing, I'm going to show you what you're going to be doing next. So that's only the first step.
Talkback on. Camera. Lens. Selected. Lens. Off. Capture. Pause. Button. Pause. Talkback off.
Okay, I am back. Now that we've created the USB stick...
Preparing ellipsis, preparing ellipsis. Preparing ellipsis, preparing ellipsis.
There goes Microsoft OneDrive again on my Chromebook. Now that we've created our USB stick, we'll next want to make it get our computer to boot into Windows. Now this computer normally boots from USB sticks by default, but Ubuntu really wants you to stay on their platform. So any distribution based on Ubuntu, if it detects that a Windows USB stick is first, it will just ignore it and boot straight into Ubuntu. If it was a different Linux distribution, it would let you boot into it. But hopefully we shouldn't have that problem. So now we're going to turn off our
Shut down. Alert.
our computer.
Cancel shutdown.
And if our PC does boot into Ubuntu, which will likely be the case, then we're going to want to force it to boot into Windows. So fingers crossed we boot into Windows first time. I'm about to switch it on so that we can install a fresh copy of Windows 10. And as I suspected, it booted straight into Ubuntu. So what you want to do is log into Ubuntu. This is one of the reasons I hate Ubuntu.
Window.
So we're going to want to destroy Grub, and I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to want to go into a terminal and do sudo and the name of your file manager, in my case Kaja.
Sudo password for Jordan.
Type in my password.
Root frame. Icon view.
We're in the root.
/root.
You want to go into /boot.
Prop pop seek boot folder. Boot. FE folder. Warning can't delete. Warning alert. Error while the error in can't skip all push button. Skip push button. Show error can't skip. Boot frame.
As I suspected, Ubuntu is preventing us from deleting a heck of a lot of stuff.
Grub folder.
But we can delete the. Let's see if we can delete the Grub folder.
Can't delete. Boot frame. Icon view. Config 5.
Okay, we've deleted Grub.
Config editor mentis status mentis system dot map faxist VM Linux VM. Warning.
We want to make sure that everything related to Linux is unbootable.
Can't delete push. Boot frame. Icon view. FE folder. Not selected.
Now we've just got the EFI folder.
EFI folder. FE boot folder. Ubuntu folder. Warning.
Delete that.
Can't delete. EFI frame. Icon view. Boot folder.
By doing this, we have made it impossible to boot into Ubuntu, meaning the computer will be forced to boot into our Windows installation system. So now...
FE. Boot folder. Warning can't delete. EFI frame. Icon view 0 items.
we want to clear this entire thing out. So, let's shut the computer down.
Shut down. Alert can shut.
By destroying Grub, we have made it impossible to boot into Ubuntu, and the computer will be forced to boot into Windows, which is what we want. So, fingers crossed we can boot into Windows. This is one way to force the PC to boot into Windows if it refuses to boot from the Windows installation USB with Ubuntu on it. This is how I've done it on this computer, but on my other computer I was able to select it from the boot menu. And I think we're booted into Windows, so we can just switch narrator on. Okay, not what I expected to see. There we go. Finally booted into Windows. Probably the USB stick wasn't inserted properly. So here we are in the Windows installation media. So I'm using narrator. Let me turn the volume up. Now we go through our standard Windows installation steps. So
Windows setup, time and keyboard or next button.
all of these are what I want because this is the UK version of Windows 10.
Install now button. Repair your computer. Install now.
So I'm going to install Windows now.
Install Windows. Install Windows window. Scan off.
So at the moment we've got a non-bootable Linux partition on the drive, and Our main objective is to completely wipe the drive so that we can install Windows.
EULA, unchecked. I accept the license terms checkbox.
We check this.
Check.
These are our license terms.
Windows setup, next, button, Alt+N.
Click next.
Upgrade, install Windows and keep files.
We can either upgrade, install Windows and keep files, or custom.
N, list view control.
Now this is where we're going to wipe our partitions.
Drive 0 partition 1 total size 512.0 megabytes. Refresh, delete. Windows setup.
Just delete all these partitions. Windows will automatically recreate these.
Windows, OK. List view control. Drive 0 partition 1 total size 400. Refresh, delete.
We
Windows
delete that again.
setup. Windows, OK. List view control. Table list. Down arrow. Up arrow. Refresh. New. Load drive. Next. Button.
Now we should have an allocated space, so fingers crossed we can install Windows. So we're going to click next.
Enter. Windows setup. Windows setup window. Copying Windows files. 0%. Getting files ready for installation. 0%.
Now, of course, if you did this wrong, then Windows would alert you and it'd say, Windows was unable to boot to the next phase of the installation. This is why it's important that you choose MBR as your file system scheme. So Windows is installing, so we're gonna let it install.
Getting files ready for installation. 10%.
Now, because this computer's particularly fast, it's not going to take a while to actually get Windows installed and up and running. I like to use Windows because VirtualBox just works better on Windows because it's more accessible with NVDA than it is with Orca on Linux. The team behind Orca really do need to get their act together and make a usable screen reader for Linux, in my opinion, because otherwise...
Getting files ready for installation. 37%.
Otherwise, there's going to be a time where Linux is no longer suitable for the visually impaired anymore. And that's why I think Orca hasn't had any... People say that Orca hasn't had any significant updates with new features because they're just bug fixes. The Linux community is messed up when it comes to accessibility nowadays.
Getting files ready for installation. 67%.
The only thing we get with Orca nowadays are bug fixes. We don't get any new features like many other screen readers do, like VoiceOver, JAWS, NVDA, Supernova, or even Microsoft Narrator. Those are all better than Orca because they get updates frequently. They get feature updates. Orca just gets new versions and they haven't changed one bit.
Getting files ready for installation. 86%.
I think people in the Linux community right now need to write to those developers and say, we need this thing to work properly. This is why many Linux distributions are not fully accessible right out of the box. Even those that were designed for accessibility, like Accessible Coconut. Oh, look at that!
Updates.
Installing features. We are almost done. And our PC will be getting ready to restart. So it's actually trying to install updates, but obviously
Finish. Restart now button.
we click finish,
Enter.
and this will restart our computer. Now you want to keep pressing Control, Windows, and Enter in order to turn Narrator on.
Progress window, scan off.
And it says getting ready, which is what we want to see. And then once it's gone through this stage, we'll be on the first time setup screen as if you've got a brand new computer. And this is what I love about Windows 10. I wish Windows 11 had this Cortana guided Windows installation. Microsoft needs to consider adding that again because it's absolutely awesome. You'll see why in a bit. And here's our next restart and the Windows out-of-box experience.
Hi there. I'm Cortana, and I'm here to help. A little sign in here, a touch of Wi-Fi there, and we'll have your PC ready for all you plan to do. You can use your voice or the keyboard along the way, and if you'd like me to stay quiet, you can just mute your PC. If you need an assistive screen reader, press the Windows, Control and Enter keys at the same time to enable narrator. Okay, enough intro. Let's dig in.
This is simple.
Your region is set to United Kingdom. Is that correct?
Yes.
Your keyboard is set to United Kingdom. Would you like to stick with that?
Yes.
Do you also type with another keyboard layout?
No.
Now, let's get you connected to a network. That way, you can get updates, apps, and cat videos as soon as possible. How about the first one on the list? Would you like to use that one?
Scan off. Twiffy XBT Port 5 and secured signal 4 out. Check. Connect.
Now, type your credentials.
Enter the network. Next. Button. Cancel. Button. Verifying and connecting.
Mission accomplished. You're all linked up. Mission accomplished. You're all linked up.
Disconnect next. Window.
Now we can go look for any updates.
This is where it's going to check for updates now that we're connected to the internet.
Experience host /webapps/inclusive of /view/best main.html. Now we can go look for any updates. Current value 0, minimum value 0, maximum value 1.
So it's looking for updates. And if it finds them, it will restart.
Windows setup. Just a moment. Just a moment.
Type your email address or phone number, then follow the instructions to sign in. I'll catch up with you once that's done.
Email, phone or Skype.
I don't want to sign in with my Microsoft account simply because my full name won't fit my home folder. So one of the good things about this older version of Windows 10 is it lets you use an offline account. Newer versions of Windows don't do this, so
create an offline account.
Click offline account. We can always sign into a Microsoft account later with the Microsoft Store and Mail, and we'll be automatically signed in while still logged into the local account. So let me click that.
Please wait. Windows.
You're about to set up an offline account, but I wanted to make sure you know Windows works far better with a Microsoft account. Do you want to do that instead?
No.
Type what you want to name your account.
Who's going to use this PC? Name.
Now I'm going to type my name here.
JORFN, or even better, next.
Click next.
Okay, now type a password for your account.
Now here's the thing. Windows lets you get away with not using a password.
Or next button.
I'm going to click next.
Windows setup.
Hey look, that's me, Cortana. Can I have permission to use the info I need to do my best work?
Yes.
Windows.
These are the settings Microsoft recommends. Go ahead and review them, and select accept when you're ready.
Choose privacy settings for your device.
I wish Microsoft still did this. If there were just checkboxes back in these older versions of Windows.
Control bar, Microsoft account. Control bar, disable voice control. Ease of access. Choose privacy settings for your device.
Choose privacy
Accept.
settings.
Button. Up arrow. Learn more. Check letter apps use advertising.
Nope.
Check get more relevant tips.
No.
Unchecked. Check help us fix things and improve.
No.
Unchecked. Check talk to Cortana and store apps that
Yeah,
support
I wanna use Cortana.
Check get location-based experiences like local weather.
And I use the weather app, so I'm gonna keep that turned on.
Uncheck learn more accept.
Click accept.
Windows setup. MS apps web forwards.
Okay, that's the last step. Almost done now. We just need to get a few more things polished up for you, and Windows will be all yours. Looking forward to helping out. Getting your PC ready. This might take a few minutes. Don't turn off your PC.
And we have just installed Windows 10 without any trouble whatsoever. And one of the good things about using this older version of Windows is that you can create a local account while being online, having internet connection so that Windows can find drivers. But you can also, when you go and check for updates, install...
Getting your PC ready. This might take a few minutes.
When you check for updates...
Don't turn off your PC.
Yeah. When you go and check for updates, you can install the latest version of Windows 10, and when it's ready for your PC, Windows 11. So that's how to get rid of Linux and install Windows 10 on that particular PC, and you don't need another Windows PC to do this. What you will need though is an older installation image of Windows 10.
Getting your PC ready. This might take a few minutes. Don't turn off your PC.
And I'm going to show you how to install your favourite apps pretty quickly as well. Even if it means using a really old version of... Oh, look at that, we're all set up. Even if it means using a really old version of Microsoft Edge.
Scan off. New notification. New notification from settings. Searching for display driver. Screen resolution. Performance and battery life may be reduced until a compatible driver has finished installing. Window search.
And here we are in our start menu. So
And scan off.
let's open Microsoft Edge. I'm pretty sure Edge works with narrator. So let me open Microsoft Edge.
Editing. Microsoft scan off. Editing.
Now we can download the new Edge if we want.
Browser view. Scan Microsoft Edge. Search or enter web address.
And I think that's what you'll want to do. You'll want to download the new Edge as soon as possible. So that way Windows doesn't have to install it when you update it.
Start. Microsoft Edge.
Okay, so we're going to
Search.
ninite.com. This will install, this is like a package manager in Linux. It'll install all your favourite apps.
https://ninite.com/ninite install.
Here we are.
Unchecked Opera checkbox.
And our first options are our browsers.
Unchecked Chrome checkbox.
I want to install Chrome.
Checked. Unchecked Firefox checkbox.
Let's install Firefox for good measure.
Checked. Unchecked Edge checkbox.
Microsoft Edge.
Checked.
This will update Microsoft Edge for us.
Unchecked Zoom checkbox.
We don't want Zoom.
Unchecked Discord. Unchecked Skype checkbox. Unchecked Pigeon. Unchecked Thunderbird.
I want to install Thunderbird for my emails.
Checked. Unchecked Trillion check. Unchecked iTunes. Unchecked VLC checkbox.
VLC.
Checked. Unchecked AIM. Unchecked Fubat. Unchecked Winamp. Unchecked Music B checkbox. Unchecked Audacity. Checked. Unchecked K-Lite. Unchecked GOM. Unchecked Spotify. Unchecked CCs. Unchecked Media Monkey. Unchecked Handbrake. Unchecked Java. Unchecked Yum. Unchecked Yum.
Now I've got some pathetic things like Java.
Unchecked .NET Desk. Unchecked .NET. Unchecked .NET. Unchecked Unchecked Silverlight. Unchecked Kryter check. Unchecked Blender. Unchecked Paint. Unchecked GIMP check.
We can install GIMP if you want to. I mean, if you're a fan of open source software, then GIMP is a must.
Unchecked Earth View checkbox.
We got Earth View.
Unchecked XN View.
XN View.
Unchecked
Inkscape.
Unchecked
Faststone Image Viewer. Screenshot. There's loads. I want to install LibreOffice because, quite frankly, it's a lot better than Microsoft Office.
Unchecked Sumatra. Unchecked Cube. Unchecked Open. Unchecked Essentials. Unchecked Mal. Unchecked Avar. Unchecked Average check.
Now, ignore those antivirus packages. You don't need them. Windows Defender is good enough.
Unchecked Skybot 2. Unchecked Avira check. Unchecked Superant. Unchecked Qubit Torrent checkbox.
If you want to use it,
Checked.
I might want to use it because it's a pretty good BitTorrent client, especially with NVDA.
Unchecked Dropbox checkbox.
I use Dropbox, so I'm going to install that.
Unchecked Google Drive for desktop.
Google Drive for desktop.
Unchecked OneDrive checkbox. Unchecked SugarSync. Unchecked Evernote check.
Why do they include SugarSync? It's not good. I don't like SugarSync.
Unchecked Google Earth.
Doesn't even do what it says on the tin.
Unchecked Steam check. Unchecked Keep
Hey, we can install Steam if you're a gaming fan.
Unchecked everything. Unchecked NV access.
And here we have NVDA.
Checked.
And I want to install one more thing.
Unchecked Team Viewer. Unchecked I am. Unchecked Real. Unchecked Real. Unchecked Tracopy. Unchecked Burner. Unchecked Revoche. Unchecked Launch. Unchecked Windy. Unchecked Glage. Unchecked Infrared. Unchecked Classics. Unchecked 7-zip. Unchecked PZip. Check. Unchecked 7-zip. Check.
And 7-zip. Now it's really important that we click save because we don't want this copy of Microsoft Edge running while Ninite is updating our installation of Microsoft Edge.
Get your Ninite. Button.
Click.
Alt and G.
Get my Ninite.
Ninite 8. Ninite 7-zip. Audacity.
So now,
Notification save. Button.
click save.
Dismiss. Button. Notification text. Ninite 7-zip. Audacity. Chrome. Dropbox. Edge. Firefox. Installer.exe. Finished downloading. Tooltip. Dismiss.
So that's finished downloading. Now what that's going to do is install all the apps we had chosen from that selection.
F4. Escape. Running narrator setting. Narrator setting. Running program. Running applications. Tasks with narrator set.
So I'm going to go into my downloads folder pretty quick.
Downloads. Dialog. Focus on accept. Button. Search results. More action. See where your browser is saving downloads. Link. Tooltip. Escape. More action. Filtered by main menu. News. Maps. Video. Image. All. Account rewards and preferences. Set it. Start. Ask me anything. Start. Task view. Shut down window. Start.
Now we can go into our downloads.
Editable edit. Up downloads. Table. Ninite 7-zip.
And this is where we're going to want to launch our installer.
Window. Preparing setup. 0% progress. User account.
User account control.
Details. Show detail.
And this will begin installing the apps we had chosen. So it's going to install LibreOffice, Audacity, VLC Media Player, NVDA, like you can hear now, so we can switch narrator off.
Sitting narrator.
Because all the speech will be provided by NVDA this time. We also chose to install Dropbox, Google Chrome, and update Microsoft Edge, and install Thunderbird and Firefox.
Ninite dialog. Show details. Write feedback. Show details now. Write feed. Cancel. Show details link.
Now, to see how everything's going, just
Dialog. Show detail. Write. Cancel. Show write feed. Cancel. Show.
click Show Details.
Hide. Write feed. Cancel. Installing Chrome. List.
And it's currently installing Chrome, which is a good thing. So Chrome has just been installed. Next thing is
NVDA. Status.
NVDA is already installed.
Firefox.
We've got Firefox.
Status. Okay,
Firefox is already installed.
Dialog. Hide detail.
I'm installing Firefox because originally it came pre-installed on this computer.
Chrome. Status. Okay.
Look at that, we've got Chrome.
Edge. Status. Installing 4 of 11.
Edge is installing, so Microsoft Edge is being updated.
7-zip. Status. Waiting to install.
7-zip is waiting to be installed.
Qubit torrent. Status. Waiting to install. Audacity. Status. Downloading.
Audacity is currently downloading, so that will be installed next.
VLC. Status. Downloading 8 of.
And so is VLC.
Thunderbird. Status. Waiting to download 9 of 11.
So Thunderbird has just finished downloading and that will be installed.
Dropbox. Status. Waiting to. LibreOffice. Status. Waiting.
So Dropbox and LibreOffice are yet to download and install. Tell you what, I could do with a cup of tea after this. It's been a pleasure using Linux on this computer, but I think Linux is better for my old Lenovo. I want to keep Windows on this computer, and if I get a new computer, I'm dedicating it to Linux. Let's see.
Dropbox status installing 10 LibreOffice status downloading.
Not like I want to get one, but if I do find one hanging around.
Thunderbird status okay now.
Okay, Thunderbird has been installed. It's just LibreOffice and Dropbox now.
Dropbox status installing.
And here we have Dropbox installing as we speak.
Desktop list. Start window. Set up Dropbox row. Linux row 1. Linux.
Dropbox has already been installed.
LibreOffice status. Linux dialog hide detailed.
LibreOffice is installing. Now these install silently, so you don't have to interact with the installers. It's just like a package manager, and Windows does come with its own built-in package manager, by the way. It's called Winget. If you want to learn how to use Winget, then let me know in the comments, because I will do a video on how to use Winget with Windows 10 and Windows 11. In fact, I want to change my voice on NVDA because I don't like the default.
Micros speaking.
Linux dialog hide details right feedback share Linux finish lesser greater share Linux hide right close button.
Okay, we're finished.
Set up Dropbox window.
So what's next, you may ask? Well, nothing is much, except I want to go into my power and sleep settings.
Start window cut on. Power and sleep settings window on battery power. Turn off after combo box 5 minutes. Never when plugged in. Turn off after combo box 10 minutes. Never get more info about say additional power. Get help. Give us home button. Search box. Find a setting and start for LibreOffice Writer, LibreOffice Space, LibreOffice Calc. Expand the recently added number grouping 7th group Adobe Photoshop.
And now we have to deal with all these ridiculous apps that Microsoft have included. No one uses Photoshop. Now get on there and uninstall those apps. I want to keep Disney Plus because I have a Disney Plus subscription.
Google Chrome, Group Music, L Group, LibreOffice, M Group, Email, Maps, Messaging, Microsoft Edge, New, Microsoft Edge.
Ah, we've got 2 copies of Edge. We've got the new Microsoft Edge and the old one.
Microsoft Edge, Microsoft News, new, install, pop-up with.
We want to uninstall that.
All apps list, M grouping, Microsoft Edge, new, Microsoft Solitaire Collection. Mixed reality, Mozilla Thumb, M group, NVDA, all app, OneDrive, OneNote, all apps list, D grouping, paid Wi-Fi and mobile.
Now that's called mobile plans in later versions.
Paint 3D.
We've got Paint 3D.
All apps list, D group, photo people, the Q grouping, Qubit, S grouping, settings, all apps list, S grouping, Skype, Spotify.
We want to get rid of Spotify.
Uninstall, pop-up window, confirm it. All apps list, S group.
These are the apps I class as malware.
Sticky notes, store.
Even though they're not officially malware, but I call them malware because they shouldn't be on our computer.
Degrouping, TikTok, new,
especially TikTok.
Uninstall, pop-up with all apps list, degrouping. Tips, regrouping, video LAN folder.
And we've got VLC.
U3D, voice recorder. All apps list, double weather, all app Windows Windows Export,
we can actually install that in latest versions of Windows, and we've also got the My Phone app. Even though it's officially called Your Phone, I like to call it My Phone because it's your own personal phone hub for Windows, which is pretty cool. Now that we've gotten rid of all those annoying viruses, I like to refer to them as viruses simply because, pups, because these are potentially unwanted programs. And potentially unwanted programs are programs you didn't ask for. So an example of a pup is BlueStacks, because it installs apps that you didn't ask for, like BlueStacks X. Adobe Acrobat Reader DC is also a pup because it installs McAfee. And again, you didn't ask for McAfee antivirus. So just avoid downloading pups and download stuff from reputable sources. In this case, we downloaded Windows from Microsoft. This is an old installation image of Windows. And Windows, you're always going to get Windows installing useless stuff anyway. So, yeah, that doesn't surprise me one bit. Anyway.
Talk back on.
I'll leave you
Camera. Lens. 0 hour. Selected. Lens. Disable. Capture. Pause. Stop recording. Button. Double tap to activate.
This is Jordan signing off, saying have a good day, everyone.